All right, so I see a lot of people worried that gold is going to enter the bubble phase, which I think it is, but not just yet, and leave them behind. So we're seeing a lot of panic buying right now, um, and I'm going to say that I don't think we've created the sentiment necessary yet to drive a bubble, and by that I mean uh, almost all bubbles need to have a very scary corrective phase that knocks everyone off the bull and makes everyone question whether or not the bull market is still intact before the bubble phase can start. Um, so I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. So this is the Nasdaq. That scary pullback was the crash in 98. It's long-term capital management um, stock market crash. Price had a very scary pullback into this was a 4-year cycle low. That created the sentiment. Everybody thought that the bull market was dead, that the financial market was imploding, and that created that sentiment of extreme doubt that then went on to power the bubble phase of the bull market. Moving on to oil. So a very similar thing happened in oil. Um, this was a roughly 35% pullback. So in 2006, the bull market in commodities was getting pretty mature, and sentiment was getting excessive, and we get this very scary extended pullback with a fake out bottom right here, and then a lower low, and that creates the sentiment, the extreme negative sentiment that then goes on to power the bubble phase in oil over the next year and a half. Now, the same thing happened in Bitcoin. In 2016, Bitcoin suffered an almost 50% drawdown before uh, turning and then moving up into that parabolic top that reached almost $20,000. So that same pattern, you get that very scary um, correction that generates the extreme negative sentiment, and that is what sets up the slingshot higher into the bubble. So now let's go to gold, and we don't have that yet in gold. Um, I think before gold can start the bubble phase, we've probably got to come back down and negate this breakout right here. That'll get everybody, it's going to trigger a lot of stops. When those stops get triggered, the selling is going to amplify and accelerate. And, as I noted in my other videos here, I think we're probably in some kind of a T1 pattern. We're going to come back down and test this consolidation zone. So, if we go from wherever we're at here, this week, let's say, even if we were to get to 2100, and then we turn and we go all the way back down to 1750, or even maybe as low as 1675, and test this midpoint consolidation, lose this breakout here, lose this breakout at 1800, sentiment is going to become um, it's going to move 180 degrees from where it is right now. Right now, everyone can see no scenario possible where gold can turn and go back down. And when it happens, and I'm pretty confident it is going to happen, uh, then um, that will create the fuel, and it will create the slingshot that will then power the bubble phase of uh, of the gold bull market. And I do believe that we are about to start the bubble phase in gold. I don't think it's going to take another 4 or 5 years. I think it's going to I think is going to occur during this 8-year cycle. And my best guess is that it's going to top sometime in late 21 or early 22. But before that can happen, I think we have to generate the fuel for it. And that can only be done by a very scary pullback, one that makes everyone doubt um, their assumptions and question whether or not the bull market is indeed intact, gets everyone on the wrong side of the trade. That will set up the slingshot move that starts the bubble. And I think that is going to come at this next intermediate cycle low, um, when this semi-parabolic move collapses, catches everyone off guard, and then for sure we'll lose this breakout here at 1923. No one is expecting that right now. There's going to be a ton of stops below this. When those stops get triggered, it's going to amplify the selling. That will probably be enough to break us back below this 1800 support level here, and then take us back down into this consolidation zone. And at that point, I think I can say with a great deal of confidence that everyone will be as pessimistic as possible, and that, folks, is the fuel to drive the bubble phase. So I don't think the bubble in gold is going to be any different than any other bubble, and they all, pretty much all of them, require that very scary pullback to create the conditions for the slingshot higher, and the creation of the bubble phase, and we just don't have that yet, in my opinion. So I think it's still ahead of us.